Welcome back to another Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series as well as the Ambani Chronicles. And I am joined once again by Jocelyn Short.
Yep.
She's a graphic illustrator and artist who's got the Bearers coming out. Is that your comic,
Yes.
Bearers?
Hmm.
She also has lots of cool concept art. There will be a link to her website in the description of this episode when I post it. And we are also joined again by Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
She is a fellow author of Adalithia, Amatree's Magic, and Elendil. She has some really cool stuff, so go check her stuff out as well. There'll be her link tree will be in the description of this episode when I post it to Spotify for podcast. And today we are discussing finally. I know we're late to the party. X-Men-97, the animated show right now that is on Disney Plus. People are tripping about it. I have not watched all the episodes, but spoilers if you have not watched the first two. Um, Off camera, I was discussing with Jocelyn and Andrea that I was kind of in a weird time in '97 where I just enlisted in the Marines. So I was either in boot camp or I might have been on my way overseas. So I probably wasn't in a position to sit around and watch the original X-Men '97 animated show, even though I had seen the cartoons previous to that. I'd read all the comics. Wolverine was one of my favorite characters, and I don't know how you guys felt about. I did like the kind of '90s feel to it. They did a good job of making it seem like it was made back then.
I agree. I watched like a scene with a friend who had no intention of like watching the show. And even she had commented. She was like, I really like how it looks like it's out of a comic book directly and like how it feels like the 90s show. So I agree. Like it's like a time jump, but not for
Yeah,
millennials.
Because like the artwork, sorry, you can tell the art is more advanced with the technology that they have, but they
yeah,
still tried to draw it in the time that it looked like in '97. And so like I'm going to have to date myself, Rod. So I was 7 when this ended. We have very different life experiences. But I have 2 older brothers who watched it as well. So I have memories of watching the original X-Men and the animated series
yeah,
when it was first out. It was our Saturday morning cartoon. It was like, okay, before you're forced to clean the house, let's watch this cartoon. So I do remember some of it. So I'm like, I can say that that's my brother who watched it. So I can remember some of the uh, the storylines and the way that they acted. So I can remember like, okay, yeah, they did hold true to some of it,
yeah.
but I have to say I was an X-Men Evolution girl.
Okay. Yeah, '97 I wasn't like around to watch very much, and the animation that I was watching was probably in Japan at the time. It was probably my time to be introduced to anime. The other brother watched it. I remember very little. So yeah, this I did like how they stylized this. It was cool. Um, is it me or does Scott seem a little stiff?
Scott always seems stiff to me though. Like
Yeah,
Scott always, in every iteration of Scott, he is always like the guy who has to be the leader, who doesn't feel comfortable in his leadership unless other people are saying he's a good leader. And it's like, Scott, this is one of the reasons why I don't always like you, because I can't keep praising you. Just be good, be
yeah,
comfortable in your skin. And I feel like Scott never feels like he's enough. That he's always comparing himself to other people. Like the entire first episode is him like, oh, the professor would do this, the professor would do that. Well, he's not here. I'm so sorry. Figure it out. You want to be the leader? Be the leader.
It's
So
I'm
that's
sorry.
my issue with that. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I definitely think it's interesting, like that he reads as stiff. I definitely pick up on that. I so the sense I get from the first episode is like X Men is in a huge transitional period,
yeah,
um, and he has, well, first question, because I don't actually know this. It is he an appointed leader or is he a self-appointed leader?
He's appointed basically.
He's
He's
appointed.
their like squad leader for
Okay.
like his group.
Okay. Fair. All right. Then fair enough. Because I was gonna say, like, if he was a self-appointed leader, he just seems to have a lot of trouble, kind of, uh, like letting the change naturally affects the group how it probably should.
Yeah.
But the fact that he is an assigned leader, and it's just like, no, we have a critical mission that we have to uphold and stick to. I can respect that. Like, he's trying to keep focus and be like, okay, yes, I understand he passed, but he's the guy trying to uh, stay the course,
Yeah.
and be the, the buoy or the anchor of the group. Been like, okay, you guys can have all of your thoughts and feelings around everything, but I let me be the center. But he's also struggling too, so he's appearing very high strung about it.
Yeah. It's
And
a weird intro, given that we start off with Professor X basically being killed off screen during some previous thing that we didn't see. And yeah, we're like looking at the aftermath of that, and Cyclops trying to kind of come into his own. But he does read to me a little stiff, even when he has all the swag jumping out of the plane when it gets blown up by the Sentinel, and my boy laser blasts his way down was really cool. And he's like, "To me, my X-Men." I'm like, "Bro, relax."
And that's like the thing with like, so Scott and Cyclops are like not the same people, which is like the very weird thing, because like the swag that Cyclops has when, and I'm using two different names for them. The
Okay.
swag that Cyclops has when he's fighting, he's like, no, I surrender. Just kidding. Like when he has all of that to Scott Summers, it's like,
Yeah.
seriously, where's the defect in this? Like where are you misaligning? How can you be so like saying all the cool lines and everything in these while you're Cyclops and you have the whole thing on and you're just like, oh, I'm using my little beam to beam me across the room and I'm fighting you and sliding across and all this stuff, jumping out of the out of the helicopter, not helicopter, but you know what I
Uh,
mean.
the jet.
Um,
Yeah.
the jet, and using the beam to go down and to slow his descent. It's like, sir, just be him all the
The whole
time.
time.
Because
You know
when you
what?
are Cyclops, you are secure. But when you are Scott, you can't.
Good comment. That's a good comment. It's the same with Superman and Clark Kent, but true. I also agree. I definitely kind of also feel like, I feel like being a mutant and being in the field, you can train for that. But also being a mutant and also human, but not, like,
Yeah.
kind of trying to be a person and being a mutant. I feel like the world is going to be what the world is, and it's shitty to them.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that is going to have anyone high strung, uh, especially if you're meant to be a leader. I feel like that can show itself in multiple different kind of ways, and I think high strung is a natural way that can come across. But I feel like being on the field, like, yeah, I can train to blast myself all across the room and like do these super cool landings and like take out baddies and sentinels and all this kind of stuff and have all of my cool catchphrases and stuff, like, and also I can put on a suit, like I can put on a suit and be different, you know
Yeah.
like, that makes sense to me why there's like, uh
It's his persona.
yeah, yeah,
Cyclops is his persona. Scott is who he actually is.
I
The
yeah.
don't know
introvert
if
and
he
the
needs
extrovert.
one though. The reference that your brother's giving us about Superman and Clark Kent. Well, Clark Kent was obviously trying to keep him being Superman a secret, whereas I don't think that's the case here with Scott and Cyclops. He's just
You just having
maybe
trouble.
this is when he puts on, when I step between the lines, like if you're on a football field or a basketball court, when I step between these lines, I'm him, and when I'm not, then I'm just normal. I guess I don't know.
But I've never truly liked Scott in any iteration. So it's hard for me to support him. But I will say there is like we see with him and his relationship with Jean about like how he's not fully there anymore within the X-Men, like 100%, because like now he's about to be a dad, and Jean is like, okay, I don't want to be here. So, but you see like him being pulled, in their conversation in episode 1 about just where to move forward after this.
Yeah.
So I can sort of understand right now the extra worry on his head, because it's like before, if he didn't come home, or like the world he was living in just affected him and his wife, who in her own right, regardless of the fact if I like her or not, can take care of herself, is strong, all that stuff, is like a total badass, can do whatever she needs to do to make it home at the end of the day. But now it's like, okay, there's someone else who's about to rely on them. I'm a little bit more nervous. So as hard as it is for me to find strength and support for Scott, I also understand the fear.
How do you feel about Storm?
To be home. Oh, give him the forecast. Just
yeah.
Like, come on, give him the forecast.
Yeah, that was a crazy one-liner there.
Oh
and we all knew what he was talking about too. Even when she was off screen, when he said that, I was like, okay.
Just that line. Did I replay that line multiple times?
Elite.
Give him the forecast. Like, yes.
Elite. All right.
Omega level mutant detected. Like, come on.
And I'm still kind of mad, even though he's such a hater, but I can't help but kind of like Wolverine, even though I know he's just being a hater to be a hater. But I just kind of rock with him. I don't know why.
I will say, in a lot of things I've seen of Wolverine recently, I forget that his actual character is like canonically shorter than everyone else. And so when I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, Hugh Jackman was just taller than everyone else.
You thinking Hugh Jackman is really like 5'6". Yeah.
I had to like adjust my brain to seeing him on my screen like this. I was like, one of these things is not right. But I was like, no, actually he is correct, that he is that height. Canonically.
Wolverine is funny. I think Wolverine is very funny. I think he's a very curmudgeon kind of character, but I understand it when you just are essentially, I don't know if he's immortal, but he's lived a long time, right?
Yeah, he lives a long time. He's not immortal.
Yeah, he's been around since like the colonial times.
Yeah, he's tired. He's
like the comedic relief in episode 1 almost, it seemed like. I didn't see him being as like, I guess the Logan I'm always used to is even from like X-Men Evolution, not just like the movies, like Logan was always more of like a mentor type thing and standoffish and like if you touch me, I'm going to break your arm. Like, don't, like, I'm only here to teach you. I don't really care. And this Logan seemed more like a big brother, like just messing around with everyone, like taking them seriously, but also it's like, I can't take you seriously because Logan, you didn't have the same sense of like grr that he had in like all, I want to say in the animated series, like before. And maybe I was just too young to not realize it because I have not watched the animated series since I was a child.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember him being like, I don't remember him having the big brother vibe that I'm getting from him in like episode 1. And maybe he
was always kind of the standoffish jerk that was there. You knew he really didn't want to be there, but he knew it was the right thing to be there, so he would be there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Type of thing. Interesting. Gambit and Rogue and Bishop were also interesting. I don't know how y'all feeling this new Bishop with the short hair. I'm used to the Jerry Curl look.
I don't have any context for Bishop.
You don't?
But I've heard that he's a racist and who has turned sides to be with the X-Men. So
yeah, he was a catcher Freeman for a while. If you know the Boondocks reference, for a while for mutants, he was running around catching mutants. I don't know if they're gonna do that here, but I didn't mind the short hair. But I've never really seen him in this context before with the group. But maybe, like I said, there was a lot of time I probably missed where he was featured more. Gambit seems to be laissez-faire. He's all relaxed. He wanted to cook bayonets and didn't want to get into the battle right away.
I like Gambit. I will always love Gambit. Like he, no matter what version of him that I see from what version of X-Men I am seeing him in, I have always loved Gambit. Because he just has like this swag about him that's just like, don't worry, we're all friends and copacetic. And like literally, the moment we're no longer friends, I'm gonna wipe the floor with you. And it's like you don't think he would ever truly hurt you, but like all the man has to do is touch you and you will literally explode. Like if he would like to. So it's like this man has so much power, but yet he just wants to chill, eat beignets, love on his girl, even though he can't touch her. Like it's just
That's weird dynamic, yeah.
But I feel like they get each other for like he understands her. He doesn't like, unlike other times I've seen like Rogue in relationships, he doesn't like, he knows the package that she is, and he never asks for more. He is fine with the way their relationship is. Like he is completely and 100% like in love with this woman, knowing he could never touch her, and that's fine for him because he just loves her and accepts her exactly as she is. And that is the one thing about Gambit that I love, because like every other relationship always feels like they try to find a way around Rogue's power, and he's just like, girl, if you touch me, that's okay. Accidents happen. Let's go. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. They're interesting the way they depicted them this time, and we've got this new little hate group of humans that don't like the mutants. They have the FOH crew, which I was thinking when I saw the letters, I was like, F out of here is what I was thinking. When I saw them on the back of the shirts and they're trying to round up mutant, they've got Sentinel technology they've gotten from somewhere, and they're trying to off the mutants still. Now that Charles Xavier is gone, I guess they feel a void in leadership. They think they can just do what they want to do, and the crew comes together to fight them. It's an interesting time for the heroes. I'm interested to see what's going to happen as the series goes along. The second episode, they throw another like monkey wrench in there with Magneto, and he comes in without he don't need his helmet no more. He don't wear it. He got the hair flowing down.
Magneto look good. I don't know why they drew him looking like this.
No, he's not supposed to. But no, he only needed the helmet because of Charles. So, like, with Charles not there, he no longer needs the helmet. So he's like, I'm letting these locks fly.
But Jean is still around, though. Jean is still around. Jean Grey.
But no, I know from past comics and, like, some of the X-Men movies and stuff, the reason, like, he got it was because Charles was so strong. And, like, I feel like he could block out Jean if he wanted to.
Okay.
But like,
because she has access to Cerebro too.
That's true.
Yeah. So I figure if he's thinking counting his eggs before they hatch, because he thinks Charles is going to don't need this helmet no more. There are other people that might try and get at him. He's an interesting character.
Yes, it was for the machine Cerebro.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah.
But Magneto coming and showing up, the end of episode 1, I'm not gonna lie, that was a great way to like introduce him to the team. Yeah. Everyone's like, okay, we're gonna have a family game of basketball. No, you're not. They all jump in ready to attack, and he's like, all his money, your team, the house, it's mine.
All mine, baby.
Come to me, my X-Men.
Yeah, I knew. Like he did that one on purpose. When he dropped that my X-Men, I was like, oh, he's hitting Scott with that one, because he's like, no, they're not your X-Men, they're my X-Men now. Like, damn,
can't catch a break.
That's crazy. It's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, and then the second episode, we have him going to his little trial because they want to have him answer for his crimes against humanity. FOH, of course, shows up trying to tear stuff up with their new technology, and my boy has this new ray gun. This actually pissed me off.
It did.
Because you hit my girl with the zapper powers away, and now she can't feel the wind, she can't feel the moisture. I was like, come on.
Like, I know this is in the comics. I understand this happens in the comics. I understand this. I do. But like, it's like both a character flaw and like a thing I hate when they do with Black women. So like one, Storm is like, look, I'm an X-Men. Magneto is in charge of the X-Men. I'm going to protect him. Like I feel like she would have done the same exact thing for Charles. Charles would have earned it because of everything that he's done for her. But it's like, look, Magneto is the head of the X-Men. I'm going to protect him like I would Charles. Magneto did not deserve her sacrifice. Like he didn't. Like right now, maybe in the future if he's like proven himself, but this Magneto right now did not deserve her sacrifice. And one, why is it always a Black woman who has to pay for other people's mistakes? Like why does she have to break down saving him? And I understand Magneto has been through a lot. He's done a lot for the mutant cause. He's been through a lot. Like this man has a horrible backstory. But still, why did Storm have to lose her power? It'd be different if the guy literally just aimed it at her. But the fact that she was protecting someone else, like why does she have to lose her powers? Protecting someone else who
I don't know. You know they're coming back, but
yeah, she got all the way nerfed. I usually when this happens, I only have faith because it's Storm, and Storm is such a great, strong character that, and also from what I've heard from other people about this arc of hers happening in the comics, that it's a great arc for her. So I'm very excited for this journey. I was heartbroken when this happened because I didn't know it. I assumed that this was the start of an arc as soon as I saw it happening, but it still didn't take away the impact of sadness that came over me when this happened. And I was like, oh, Lord. And then also that feeling, I had that same feeling. I was like, Lord, the Black lady got nerfed like episode 2 of the damn show. So, but
the Omega level threat,
right? Like the top tier
cream of the crop.
Yeah. So, but I am excited for this arc because I know she's gonna be elite in all every episode we're gonna see her in thus forward, I'm assuming. And also she's only gonna come back even stronger through whatever her arc is. So I'm just excited. Like I know it's not the last we're gonna see of her, and we're gonna see like by the time whatever comes full circle, it's gonna be incredible. So I'm excited about that.
Hope so. Yeah. It's interesting, that whole little trial thing and them trying to go back and forth. And I wonder how the anti-woke folks are thinking, because there's messages all throughout this about real life occurrences.
Absolutely.
All those people talking about get the politics out my comics and out my stories, I'm like, it's already there. They're talking about mutants, but you know that could be an easy reference to a lot of things in life. So,
but like X-Men was literally written to be like parallel to the civil rights movement. So like if you've ever liked X-Men, this is what it's been about. Like
X-Men is
Xavier and Magneto were Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Like that was legitimately who they were from the jump. So it's so I definitely don't understand when people are like for any other things I can like maybe whatever, but for this one was literally written to show the plight of people of color and how like the mutants were literally used to showcase people of color and how they're treated unjustly. So this is the only one where people can definitely keep politics in because it was literally created to be a window.
Most fiction is meant to parallel life in some way or be a kind of a commentary on what you're experiencing and seeing in the world. So it's not that strange of an idea. I know people just want escapism, but it's there and the messages are there. Scott, and they're clearly trying to keep the movement going with mutant kind, and they're having friction with regular humans who are like, basically, you will not replace us. They think that we've evolved into mutants to replace regular humankind, and we'll see how it plays out. But I haven't really heard that complaint, but I know I've heard it with so many other things.
Oh, I've seen it on TikTok. There are sides of TikTok where people are just complaining about like everything.
About the current one?
About the current one, about the old one, about it's out there. Yeah. But I will say, Trask does yell that at like Scott and them at the end of episode 1. I think it was when he's being arrested and he's like literally yelling like, "You're not going to replace us." It's like people were literally born this way. They cannot control the fact if they're a mutant or not. Yeah. You're just born that way, and you're killing people for literally the way that they were born. Trask, like get that through your brain. But can we talk about Rogue for a second?
Yes. Yeah, we can. What you got?
Scott, you really gonna have her touch this random doctor? That whole scene, like literally, you didn't think about it. There wasn't a moment. There wasn't a hesitation. It was literally, he won't deliver a mutant baby. Rogue, can you touch him and get and absorb his knowledge?
Yeah.
Whoa! Like you didn't even like stop and fake like you thought about it, Scott. You were just like,
I mean, I do know. I've never birthed a child, first of all, but I also know sometimes stuff can go left so fast when, like, sometimes those heat of the moment decisions like just happen and have to be made, and so that was quick maths. That was good quick maths. It was good quick thinking on his part.
I'm not against it. I want to say that I was not against what Scott did. Like, forget the doctor. You're supposed to. Your first oath was do no harm. You're supposed to help everyone.
Yeah.
But it was just like, Scott, like you didn't even fake like you cared about this man.
I probably at that point when the doctor showed that he didn't care, Scott probably like, well, I don't care neither. Can you take this dude's knowledge real quick?
Right.
Yep.
Facts.
I love that Rogue was like, hey, look, if something happens and I touch your kid, they're like, we trust you. I'm like, because, like, if you better glove and gown that woman, not a single edge of skin can show. Like, put so many different layers of gloves on that woman so she can deliver this baby. I thought that was really funny and cute, but it was just like, Rogue, now you know how to deliver a baby. If any other X-Men decide to pop out a child.
And later on, we do see that she can touch some people because her and Magneto looked like they was getting a little handsy.
I had to Google that. Because I was about to be like, but apparently they have a whole storyline that Magneto can create a force field around himself and allow her to touch. That's gonna get her in trouble, and I don't like it. Because Rogue, you haven't accepted yourself. You have not accepted yourself because I do not care. Magneto is not the one for you. Just because he can touch you doesn't mean he is for you.
Saw her leaving out his office too.
That was so sad. Like
he was creeping up on the office door, like I know she in there.
And then Gambit just in the corner, just like I was like, oh my god, no.
But then, like, also though, I'm not touch deprived like Rogue is, because it's one thing to always touch someone with a glove. It's another thing to feel skin to skin contact. And so I am not touch deprived like Rogue is, but still, not Magneto. Not Magneto. Why him? Like, he is old enough to be your grandfather, honey. What are we doing? Stop this.
Because he got his hair out. His soul glow right now.
He looking good, man. He got on that bodysuit. His hair is out. His hair is out and outside. No. Okay, Magneto.
He don't look better than Gambit.
He don't, but he look good. That man grown. Okay, he knows what's going on. He know what time it is. He's about 80s.
He's a new 40.
All right.
There you go. Hey, he's a straight up silver fox. Really, you gotta go through.
I will say, I know that they can't get, like, they don't have the original actresses, like voice actresses anymore because like some people retired, their voices don't sound the same, whatever. But Rogue's voice is not Rogue's voice for me. Like, whenever I hear the animated version of her voice, even from the original series, and in X-Men Evolution, it has more of a huskier Southern drawl, and she's just a little too, like, she's, for me, her voice sounds like you spent like the first 10, 11 years of your life in Louisiana, and then you moved to LA. Like, you are, like, it's like a Southern drawl that has Valley Girl mixed into it, and I just don't understand it. Like, her voice is not my voice yet. It's not the voice of Rogue that I remember from any animated version of Rogue. So it's still growing on me. I'm not 100% there.
I feel that.
I feel the same. I didn't mind it, but yeah, you're right. It's not hitting like it should.
Yeah,
it didn't take away. What do you think about Gambit's voice, Mon Cherie?
His also is a little too, like, his voice is, I was spent the first couple years of my life where, like, you know, I have the slight accent, but it's not fully there. Like, in the animated series and in X-Men Evolution, the voice actors who did their voices had so much more of a Southern twang to it that was, like, respective of where they're from. And now it just seems almost like someone who's never, like, I get it, actors and actresses they just do voices, but like it's not their voice.
He's
It's
supposed to be from
not
Orleans.
the voice I attribute to these two characters.
Yeah.
I need Gambit to sound. Gambit has more of a huskier, deeper voice as well, and this is a little bit more high pitched. And so his gives. I spent the first 10 years in Louisiana, and then I moved north, and I lost my accent some. Like it's not given the same thing that animated Gambit gives.
How wrong was it, do you think, for Morph to impersonate Charles Xavier walking around?
I like dark humor. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I love dark humor. It was just like it would have been different if it was like the day after, but like it was a year later and he's up and walking. Like I love me more.
So we like the action of this?
I do.
Yeah.
I will watch it for the podcast. I still probably would prefer X-Men Evolution and probably the original over this.
Okay.
It's just it hasn't grown on me yet. I'm not.
You're not even feeling like just the action scenes alone, even if the other stuff's kind of throwing you off.
So like let's go back to let's give them the forecast. While that scene was amazing and while like you felt the level of it, I just feel like they are focusing more on words and not necessarily fully like action for me. So Storm first of all, why weren't you with them, Storm? But anyway, Storm's walking on the sand and it's turning into ice or turning into glass as she's walking on it. Those scenes were nice. And then but seeing the Sentinels just go up in the tornado wasn't really much for me. Like Scott's scenes weren't like good, but I feel like I've seen better from other animated X-Men shows. So it wasn't there for me yet. Maybe that might change in a couple of episodes, but right now I'm still just like, you're not what and granted, I may not be the target audience for this. Other people loved it. Like for the most part, for like the actual people who are true fans and they're not hating on things based off of politics or whatever, they all love it. So obviously it's good, but it's
everybody's been rave. I've seen this be getting rave reviews across the board as far as I've seen online. Jubilee, I guess, is supposed to be the newest recruit, and she's trying to usher this little rich spoiled kid who gets kidnapped. I want to know what the hell they was going to do with them other kid. Were they going to kill them all? All the mutants they found had them with the little collars on. Were they just going to kill them all and dump them somewhere? Damn, that's how you feel, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I am interested in their arc, Jubilee in this kid. Because he seems to be, ashamed to be a mutant, and is hiding it from his everyone.
Yeah.
And Jubilee is like, "Ooh, I'm into that."
We'll be ashamed together.
Yeah, right. And so I'm interested to see how she's going to get burned by this. I don't want her to get burned, but she will if they don't learn some lessons through this. So I'm very interested in this arc.
I can't remember who that guy. I feel like we've met that type of character before, and I just don't know where. But he also seems to be a very, very, very strong mutant to be able to be like solar energy like that. And the fact that she put her shades down tells me like it was a lot brighter than what they could draw. It was supposed to be much brighter. Yeah. So I feel like we're going to see him later in the season.
He seems oblivious too.
He's like a rich kid who literally you wake up in the hospital and he's like, how much do I owe you? Like he's so disconnected from the real world that is like, sir, I need you to be so for real with yourself right now.
He doesn't seem to realize they're not going to stop. He's like, I'll just leave and I'm just going to this party real quick, go to a rave and just chill out. It's like, dude, these people just kidnapped you.
Like you didn't even go home.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even go home like, hey, father, I was kidnapped by these radicals who I'm not ready to tell you why they kidnapped me, but I was kidnapped. Can I get some security? Like
yeah, he's not even here. Like I feel like I don't know because I do know that sometimes teenagers can just be that way, like just kind of oblivious to all of what is really happening. So maybe not processing it, but like, or he's dissociating. I don't know. To just be like, oh, I mean, this happened. Whatever, fine. Hey, hey, girl, you cute, you know. So I don't know. Not even he's not even here.
I hope to see something from him in the future. I hope that he grows out of being a spoiled, pompous, rich person. And I just want to see Storm reclaim her power, whether it's like her actual power or her internal power, because she's going through something terrible. She's literally lost a part of herself, and I just want to hug her and let her know it's okay and that she is still the master of my heart.
Yeah.
And she can still always give me the forecast.
She'll be back. I have no doubt of that. That's a gold mine of a character. They can't just leave her depowered. I don't think. And she has a lot, obviously, to the team. You can't call for the forecast if she can't bring it.
We gotta hear that line more than once, you know. Also, I want to talk about that moment, like after Storm lost her powers, and then they, Magneto's like fucking pissed. I'm sorry, I'm cursing. Magneto's pissed, and they go up into the sky. You know, he
smashed up the whole tribe. He smashed up everybody.
Yeah,
the judges
yeah.
And the dude.
But then he lifted like the desk of the people, and then had like the guy who shot Storm, like he plastered him on that thing and like brought him up, and he was ready to crush everyone, and then he was just like, I'm only not doing this because of Xavier.
Because of Charles.
Because of Charles.
Mm-hmm.
That's on
If
Charles.
it wasn't for Charles. I don't know if y'all familiar with that old meme that was on YouTube for a while with the Juggernaut.
Oh, I'm the
Juggernaut.
Yeah, I'm the Juggernaut. That was always so crazy to me. Charles, shut up, Charles. That's not you, Charles. I beat you with Charles. If they got Juggernaut, they need to bring back that voice actor, dude. I know the bunch somewhere just going crazy and doing voiceovers. If they bring that dude for the Juggernaut, I'd be rolling.
If I'm skipping ahead, just let me know. But the last scene of that, like, oh my gosh, what are you doing at our front door?
Oh yeah,
episode 2.
Yeah,
that's right.
That I'm gonna be super honest. Okay, I'm gonna go on record and say I have never liked Jean, ever, my entire life. Every version of her has always been a pick me girl. I've never liked her. I do not know why. Please don't hate me in the comments. I'm so sorry. But this Jean in episode 1 and 2, I was like, there's something off about this chick. I don't know what it is, but there's something off. This is not my Jean Grey. Because let a doctor say, I'm not going to deliver your baby. Yes, you are. I'm telling you, you are. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like my Jean, who I dislike, is a lot stronger than this. And that last scene literally revealed to me why I was not liking Jean from episode 1 and 2. Like, there's something weird about this Jean. Like, Jean would never leave the X-Men. That's the only place she ever felt safe. What are we doing? What are we even talking about right now? Will she step back from the team? Possibly. But to leave, to make your life in a world that hates you for who you are, why would you ever leave safety? No. This is not the person that I knew. Mm-hmm. And I've disliked forever. So
and something that may have seen off too when she described her previous experience, as if she was only telling it because to prove who she was, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this deep dark power took over my body and blah blah blah, and like I'm thinking that the characters around her would be like, yeah, we know we were there. Why are you telling us? Unless you're trying to prove something there, Jean.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Like, legitimately, the Jean that I have strongly disliked would have never ever suggested Scott leave. One, like she would have suggested maybe taking a step back and maybe taking a Charles Xavier role and like being the people behind, putting the person behind the desk and telling the troops where to go because you have a kid, come home to your kid, but never leave. And this Jean just seemed so lackluster in a way that I just was not. I was like, I just thought it was because I didn't like her that I just wasn't expecting anything from her until that last scene of episode 2, and I was like, oh, that's why I don't like Jean. It's not
So you
her.
think this is a fake Jean with ulterior motives? Is what you're saying?
I think I did Google this whole thing, but before I Googled it, I thought that she was like an imposter when I saw the other Jean come to the door. I don't care what happens. The Jean at the door is the real Jean. That Jean is the fake Jean. I do not care. Like, that's just it.
I mean, even if that is the case, you got a weird situation with Cyclops. Like,
you can still be a father to your child. But let's be honest, Scott loved Jean, and he wants Jean, and he only ever wants Jean. And if he finds out that the woman he had a child with is not Jean, he's going to leave her. He's going to. Scott loves Jean. He is obsessed with that woman. He will do anything for that woman.
How many episodes are we getting? I know there's 5 out, right?
I think like 10. Most of the streaming stuff has always been like 10 episodes.
10.
10? Okay.
Guessed it.
Very good.
Well, they've changed it now with so many of the shows now. Some are like only 8, some are 10, some are like weird, like 13 episodes, depending on what you're watching.
I'm glad it's 10 just because the episodes are pretty short. So
yeah.
Yeah. I would like to see the voice actors grow and hit puberty for Rogue and Gambit. Get a deeper voice.
They'll get better as they go along.
I'm hoping, God, because I mean, Rogue seems a little peppier than I remember, and her voice is just too high pitched. And then Gambit's mannerisms are the same. His voice just doesn't match for me, and it could just be a personal thing that I was expecting one thing and I'm not getting it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It's just my opinion, but I would like for them to hit puberty and their voices get deeper.
What do you think about Beast?
Beast is cool.
Yeah, Beast is cool. He seems more analytical.
Yeah, he's definitely taking a back seat to the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
So, maybe because he's part of the old guard kind of thing.
Did you have a change of heart? I feel like this episode is a lot about the lines and the one-liners and like the viral lines, because they've had a couple good ones. So I don't know, and also maybe it's also just because the movies have made Logan to be the star and the savior of everything, but this Logan, even when he was fighting, seemed lackluster than like the Logan I remember from like other cartoons and other iterations of himself. So
I mean, I feel like from what I've seen so far, because I've seen up to episode 5, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I feel like this season is focusing on specific arcs. And that's not to say that in later episodes we won't get more of like some of the other characters. But I think certain characters definitely have like the spotlight right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give it to Logan and Storm. They're the ones I love and care about.
He'll get some shine later. I think they're not going to have him be too intense, because you already kind of know that character too. They're just showing more of his sullenness than his readiness to get down.
I would like to be.
We'll probably see more. Plus, it is a kid show. It's on Disney Plus. They're not going to let him just start lopping heads and arms off.
There's an adult side to Disney. You can set age limits on Disney.
They're gonna
but if you're gonna pattern after a Saturday morning cartoon, you're not gonna have them lopping heads and dismembering everybody.
Just make it for 16 and over, please. I want to see them head lops off.
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
I mean, I feel like the interpersonal drama is very adult. between these characters from what I've seen so far.
True.
So, which I'm happy about. It's all like slightly to sort of very messy, which I appreciate.
It's gonna get even messier. It seems like.
Facts,
I feel
absolutely.
like I need an adult to watch some of these scenes with Rogue and Magneto. I'm just like I'm uncomfortable. Like that hand thing was just too uncomfortable.
Oh my
I don't like it. I
It's
need an adult.
you know what? It is interesting though, like to see that even happen. Like it makes sense. So I learned after watching that episode that like her and Magneto have like a very interesting history. Um, and so I don't blame her to be almost like not necessarily just emotionally overwhelmed, but also that like to upon Magneto just kind of showing up and then also being the one person she can like touch, and then also they have a history and he showed up out of nowhere. Like I'm not saying it's correct. I don't think it's correct to just immediately kind of be weakened to him,
Yeah.
but I also understand it. I don't blame her, you know.
Well, her and Scott have a history too, though, don't they?
Oh
I
really?
never wanted her with Scott. In X-Men Evolution, Teen Rogue had a crush on Teen Scott. He was never good enough.
But I know, but they reference something where she basically says we got to keep that under wraps. I thought I remember Rogue saying that to him.
To Magneto?
No, to Scott.
Ooh, what scene? What number? I need to go ahead and back and
In
watch
the
that.
first episode, I believe she makes some reference like, "Yeah, that was a long time ago. We have to keep that under wraps, basically." And I was like, "What is they talking about?"
I'm not familiar with the from the animated series.
Okay,
If there was ever a thing or in the comics, so
I'll go back and watch it and see if I can catch it again.
but
I
I
could
do
be
know that
mistaken too.
she had a crush on him, and then was like, he only wanted Jean, and Jean was such a pick me girl and a good girl, and I hated her. That's going to be the theme of this next 5 episodes. Me and Jean.
Who's the real Gene? Will the real Jean Grey please stand up?
So I can hate the correct person.
I feel like I want to read, like watching the show makes me want to read comics about Jean, just because every iteration that I've seen of her, and I haven't seen like the cartoons, but I've seen like the movies and stuff. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like she's a character who is supposed to be OP, but some always happens where she gets nerfed, and I just like that's very frustrating to me to see because I always feel like she's a character who's never supposed to like reveal her powers like for how powerful she truly is. I think from what I went back and watched because I did watch like a what are you supposed to know before going into X-Men-97, and like there have been iterations where she has shown how powerful she is, but I feel like the times where I've seen her like some always happens to her like someone's going on
Scott
where
saved me.
yeah someone just like man I really just want to see a version of you where this doesn't happen, where you're not like overcome by something, overwhelmed by your thoughts or something, and you can just show out. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll check in with that next week. I guess we'll watch 3 and 4 for next
Mhm.
week. Talk for those episodes.
Yep.
I guess we'll see who the real Jean Grey is, and then after that, we'll be caught up with everybody. After that, episodes 5 and 6, because 6 should have been released.
6 will come out on Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday. You said what?
Happy
Comes
birthday!
out on my birthday.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be Andrea Rose Washington's birthday on Wednesday.
What?
Aries season out here. Gang, gang, gang. I'm not Aries. I'm not an Aries, but still gang, gang. You know, fellow fire signs around these parts.
Well, hopefully you have a good time on your birthday. Thank you too for taking the time out of your day to chop it up with me about these things. And all 9 or 10 of you that have watched the live, we appreciate you taking the time out of your days to listen to us chop it up about these things. We'll be back next week to talk more X-Men 97. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.